Well, hello everybody. I'm glad we're all here tonight because I want you to know that I had another program up until about 8, 9, 10 months ago. I had a program called Let's Talk. And I had it for a little over 4 years, about 3 months over 4 years. And I loved it. And what I did on that program was I leaned towards everything that had something to do with the senior population in Santa Cruz County. And I had all the different organizations that did things for the seniors on my program. So it was a very educational and very interesting, and it was a wonderful program, but it wasn't fun. And I decided that I'm not going to do the program anymore. I'm getting old myself, believe it or not. And it's time that I get into what's going on in the world now. And I hear young people saying they can't meet someone, they can't this, they can't that. They go online, they sit all night long or all day long, whatever, on a couch, and they have a computer, and they go online looking for people. That's really not the way to meet people. You gotta meet people when you're with other people. And you gotta meet people when you're outgoing. And I said to myself, Paula, get on TV and tell the population what they gotta do. What the hell do I care? So I'm going to find the right people that are going to come on my program, and they are going to talk about nothing but good things. Happy things. I don't want to know about sickness. I don't want to know about anything. I went through it for 4 years. So I'm changing. So that's why I came up with Let's Date. And I gave Let's Talk to Lou Tuesto, an insurance man. Because he started doing the program with me a little bit, and he loved it, and he wanted to take it over. I said, okay, there are certain things you have to do before you can take over the program, but okay, you'll be my co-host. And he was out of his mind happy. So he has Let's Talk on Thursday once a month, and I'm having Let's Date.
Great.
And so far, I'm having nothing but fun. I met you, I'm meeting you, I'm going to meet more interesting, outgoing people that are interested in people, and they're going to make their life happy, one way or another. I hope. We'll see what happens. I have the guts to try it, and we're going to see what's going to happen. So that's why I invited the three of you. Keith came to me from a very dear friend of mine, and I think the two of you came to me from her too. Her name is CJ.
I came from CJ.
You came from
and
CJ.
She came from me.
And Keith came from CJ, so we have got to applaud CJ.
CJ.
Yay for my CJ. She will not come up on, no, forget it.
Not today.
She will not do that. But if it wasn't for CJ, I don't know who would be sitting here tonight. So we're going to start off with you, Keith. Even though you said you have nothing to say. I know you got something to say, and if you don't, I'll pull it out of you. How about that?
Start pulling.
Go for it.
What do you think about a toast to start?
Yeah,
a toast for the new program.
New program.
For Paula, may it be joyous and wonderful and lots of fun.
Lots of fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're drinking water, everybody.
Yeah.
Chili vodka.
How do you find the situation?
Dating situation?
Dating.
It's an interesting period of time for me to be dating.
Okay.
And it's an interesting community to be dating in.
Oh.
You said something earlier on about people sitting online and but I think what that does is it allows people more access to more people.
Right.
And I think that's something that for folks who are really busy, who don't have the time to be able to go out and socialize and to meet people through friends, which is the way I prefer to do it. I think it's a good tool to use.
Okay.
If it's the only tool you use, it's like anything else. It just doesn't, you start isolating yourself a little bit too much. The work I do is very social. I'm a consultant. I'm meeting people day in, day out. I work in my office is at Next Space.
Oh, okay.
So I see a lot of people up there. I have a lot of clients. I go to a lot of openings because I work primarily with businesses from startup to opening stages. And so I go to a lot of openings. So my life is pretty social,
I see.
I have tried online, some of the online services, with not a lot of success. Met some really nice people. It just wasn't that fit that I was looking for.
Right.
My preferred way of getting to know someone is to spend some time with them in a very casual atmosphere and get to know them and have them get to know me, and then if there's a there, then you can kind of take it and start ratcheting it up a little bit and see what happens.
Right. Okay.
But that's, I think it's a good tool. I think online dating can be a good tool for some people, and for other people it just doesn't work.
Yeah, that's true.
So I have 2 kids, 24 and 26.
Oh.
They certainly don't do that at all. I mean, their whole way of meeting their significant others is through friends, the way I did it and the way I'm sure everybody around the table here has done it. So neither one of them is signed up for a site, neither one of them is sitting on a couch.
Good, good.
And they're out and about, they're meeting friends through friends, and I think that's still the tried and true method of getting to meet people.
Yeah, a lot of people say they don't want to wait for that. Quite a number of people say that. And I can't understand it, because I know in my day, that's how we met people.
Yeah. I don't think a whole lot's changed.
No, I don't think so either.
I don't think a whole lot's changed. I think there's just one more tool to make it a little easier sometimes. But, like I said, I'm just looking back at my 2 kids and how they've met people, how they've met their significant others, boyfriends, girlfriends. The son and a daughter, so I've seen both of that. Right. And that's how they meet their, they get introduced through friends.
If through friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way to go. Okay. Louise, what have you got to say for us?
Well, I ran into you, Paula, at Trader Joe's, and I said, I knew your show was complete, and I wondered, what are you doing now? And you said, I'm doing a show called Let's Date. And I said, oh, you got to meet my friend Tree, because Tree has a game that she plays with people of an evening. So, and then she said, yeah, I want her on my show. And then I said, and I used to be a matchmaker. And you said, oh, you got to come on my show.
So that was the first thing I said to you.
So I'll tell you the story of my matchmaking service.
Go ahead.
It was called Divine Connections.
The who connection?
Divine Connections.
Divine, okay.
And it was in the early 80s in Marin County. And I was shopping for a career. So I went to an evening where you had there was conversation about careers. And somebody at the break said, I'm looking for a relationship. And I said, you know what? I know somebody for you. And then the guy next to her said, well, how do you do it? I said, I'm a matchmaker. And he said, well, how do you do it? And I said, well, I see people for 3 hours and I get to know them. And I feel who they are, I learn who they are, and then I match them up with each other. I have them work off my subjective questionnaire. I see them for an hour and a half on 2 occasions. And lo and behold, that was exactly what took place for those 4 years. It was called Divine Connections, a matchmaking and relationship preparation service for people on a path of personal and spiritual growth. Okay. So I had 450 clients.
Wow. Oh my God.
But wait a minute, they weren't all there at the same time.
I didn't think they were.
In a 4-year period. I set up 750 first dates. And every one of them called me back afterwards. They didn't have to say anything other than, do you want to meet more people, or are you happy with, or if they wanted to use it as an opportunity to have someone to bounce off of.
Okay. So did any of them get married?
That's always the question.
Right. Give
probably
me the answer.
A few. I would not recommend spending, $10,000 for a matchmaker, because I don't think there's a likely chance that you're going to meet your perfect partner.
Really?
Not I mean, if I didn't charge enough, so there's somewhere in between that might work. I worked myself I worked hard. I didn't have any computers. I laid all the cards out, and and there was never a time when I couldn't introduce somebody to somebody, because if I did it for 24 hours a day, there would be people that I sensed they would enjoy meeting. They would enjoy perhaps learning about themselves, if nothing else. Maybe they'd be friends, and that's what happened. A lot of friendships came from this. And I learned later that friendships other friends met each other through, it was a good thing. I was on the radio a few times. It was word of mouth. Mostly.
So were there any marriages?
Probably.
And you don't know about it?
Tell me one that you want.
I know of one. I know of friendships that lasted for many years.
Okay,
So
but no wedding?
No, yeah, there were. I know there were a few.
Oh, there were. Okay.
Whether
good.
they stayed together or not, I don't know.
We don't know about that, but
No.
you got them together. If they didn't work
But
out,
the
that's
goal,
not
we
your
got to
fault.
think of the goal as friendship, because relationships only work and last if there is a friendship.
Okay.
So, and it's an opportunity to know thyself when you go out and date. You're learning, who is it that I want? Who am I? Am I really ready? Do I really want one? Have I completed my last relationship? And, it may be you're preparing for a life partner, and you're looking to have children together. You better be friends. First, forever, whether no matter what happens. So it's about really looking and studying, and I'm now beginning to see clients again, but not the matchmaking. Please do not think of me as a matchmaker.
So you don't want to be a matchmaker?
No, please, no.
I thought you wanted to go back into it.
Oh, you see, that's what people, if I say that, when I say that, people think matchmaking. It sticks so firmly
So
in
what
the
do you
brain.
want to be?
Relationship preparation consultant.
Relationship preparation consultant.
Yes, how about coach? Relationship coach.
A relationship coach.
Yes.
Okay, so you'll be known as a relationship coach.
Preparation. I don't know.
You want that word preparation in there.
I guess I do. I do, because it is.
Listen,
it calls
Keith knows
for,
all about business. Do you think that she should have preparation in her name? Keith, come on. I'm putting you on the line, I know.
I'm a firm believer in having in your name of your business what it is that you do.
Okay.
So that there's an association there, so that people get it real quickly without a whole lot of digging.
Okay.
So
Divine Connections Relationship Preparation Consultant.
Good.
And you got to fit it on a business card.
For people on a path of personal and spiritual growth.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
fits.
I like that.
Can you tell us about any one client that maybe you had a problem with, just to give people an idea of what you went through in the connecting them?
Well, some people are really, in my opinion, they need more inner work, before they're really going to attract who they are. So be who you are first. Know who it is that you're ready for. And some people were less prepared, really, but yet they had a good outer front, but the inner wasn't quite ready for.
Well, what wasn't ready?
something
Give us
deeper.
an example
What
of
wasn't?
what wasn't ready.
Well, some people are just not quite, they haven't accepted themselves. They really don't love themselves. They want love. They may not be ready to give love. Other people, there's such a range,
Give us an example.
The fact that there are people on a path of personal and spiritual growth shows that people that came to me had a depth in general. They did. They had a relationship with God. And that doesn't mean any particular religion. They had a way of going deep inside. But does that make for readiness? There's different levels of willingness to be intimate. That's where you come in. How revealing can you be? Are you someone who points the finger, or do you look at yourself first? Or do you say, I know, I'm much like that myself.
Right.
I learned that from you.
Yeah.
You so often say, you take the defense away
Right.
by the way you you communicate. Your skills are excellent.
You
It
can't
costs
see
them-
something in someone else unless you have it in yourself. That's what
That's
they
right.
say.
That's
So,
right.
no matter good or bad.
Good or bad.
Yeah.
That's right. So it would be valuable to go through my course. I ask people to work off of a subjective questionnaire. And I did, and I will, and I do. And it changes over the years. I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
I certainly don't know it all.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, yeah.
So I will challenge, I will stretch someone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joe, on the phone? Oh, Joe, where are you?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, go right ahead.
Since this is one of the things that I do, you talked about the way you used to work, 2 1.5 hour sessions. Do you see that changing? Because coaching can be
Yes.
long-term relationships, and I've had some
Yes.
for 3 or 4 years with clients
Yes,
that I started off with. So is that something that
yes.
you're prepared
Thanks for
for?
pointing that out. Yes, I actually am not going to do it that way. I'm going to have some questions that I have people look at that will open doors for further conversation. And it will be ongoing if they choose it, if I choose it. Yes, you're right.
What kind of questions would you ask them?
Tell me, now, if I were to ask, who are you looking for? What are the qualities? Well, any one quality, there's so much to say about any one quality. Where are you on a scale of 1 to 10 with that quality? And if you were to,
What's the quality?
okay, what would be a quality? Integrity. say.
Integrity.
Yeah.
Okay.
We could talk about it for a whole hour. And would you ask that? What would you ask? If you're a 3, would you ask for a 10 in integrity? You better ask for who you are. So anyone, kindness. I mean,
What do you mean by
tell me
integrity?
Good question.
What do you mean by
Do you do
integrity?
what you say you're going to do? Do you know who you are enough to know what you want? Can you fulfill? Can you be counted on?
So that covers integrity.
And there's some things that could be discussed for an hour.
Okay.
but
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I understand.
That might be.
Okay. Because I don't think that I don't think somebody would understand what they have to look inside themselves for unless you bring it out.
That's right. That's right.
So you have to bring this out in people so they'll know what's going on.
Well,
because I
usually-
don't think people sit down and think about it.
Well, when someone is really looking, when they're ready for a relationship or wanting to prepare for a relationship, qualities are jumping out at them. They're noticing things. They're noticing themselves. And they're saying, oh, I must have somebody who's, over 6 feet, under this amount of weight. Those are pretty superficial things.
Right.
But they have to be kind and loving and warm. And there are a bunch of words unless
I
you
know.
really, really feel them, know them. This is who I am. This is who I'm asking for.
Okay.
And then the universe takes over.
Yeah. So I know there's a universe, but I always don't believe everything that's happening because of the universe. But it's got to be the individual themselves coming out and telling you exactly what they want. Okay. So do you feel that while they're telling you this and they're bringing their soul to you, that they're really being honest? Is there any way that you pick up on something that you say to yourself as they're being honest, they're telling me the wrong. Nah, this is not this person. Do you get that too?
Probably, but that's what a coach does. They kind of stretch you. They kind of, bounce it back and forth, and then you can drop into a little deeper truth about it.
Okay, excuse me. Is Joe back?
He's back.
Where is he?
Hi.
Mike.
Are you there?
No, I've been here. Where have you been?
Hello.
Hello?
I've been out trying to meet women.
Oh, okay. What do you want?
I have a request for some practical advice. When I meet women in public places, I never know if they're single or if they're married. And I would like to know how I can find out if they're, obviously if they have a wedding ring on, I'm probably not going to bother them. But if they have some other sort of ring on that finger, how do I know without being too obvious and saying, hey, are you married? You can't say that when you first meet someone. So what do I do? Can you give me some advice on how to approach that?
You take a shot.
Take a shot.
That's it. How does she know you're not married? Let's face it. So we're talking about integrity.
Right.
Do you have integrity?
I do.
Oh. And
I don't have any rings on my fingers.
you have no rings on, and you don't have one through your nose either, do you?
No.
No, okay. Okay, what should this guy do?
Are you willing to make friends?
Yes.
That's good, because that's what it's about. Let yourself be in a friendship with this person. Who
Okay.
cares whether she's got a ring or not? Be with her long enough to see, is she someone you'd like as a friend for 5 minutes, 10 minutes? It will reveal, she will reveal, and you will pick it up.
Okay.
You'll know.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
What I was going to suggest is that you trust your gut and trust your intuitions. A lot of times when we're starting to date, we are so on cloud nine, and we don't, there are things that we don't want to see, maybe, signs that this person might be married or not as available, and then inevitably it's why the relationship ends. So I would say that you sound like a very wise man to just trust your gut from the beginning. And I see nothing wrong with asking, first or second date.
Right.
If you don't want to be with anyone who's married, there's nothing wrong with asking for that.
No, I don't want to be with anyone who's married. That wouldn't be right.
No,
for
I
me.
mean asking.
If I just meet someone, when I'm just meeting someone for the first time,
Right.
just not on a date, but just in a public place, like if I'm walking on the beach or if I'm at the
right.
grocery store or something,
Yeah.
how do I know if I should ask her out or not?
Yeah.
Well, you got to take a shot, Joe.
Okay.
That's what life is all about.
Right.
You see someone you're interested in, talk to her, and then make a date.
As someone who's in relationship, I'm always flattered when men ask me out. I mean, I could never imagine a woman being upset. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm not like all women. But I would say, like Paula said, take the chance, because, you're never going to see this person again. And so I met a guy at an ATM, meet men at the weirdest places. And if you don't strike up a conversation, you never know. You have nothing to lose, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Are you happy, Joe?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for calling.
You're welcome.
And how old are you, Joe?
How old am I?
Yeah.
52.
52.
Yeah.
Oh, I got plenty of women for you. Oh my God Almighty! I got a hoe. Oh, call again.
Okay, well, I have another question, though, actually.
Go ahead.
There is a woman I met who I really like, and I do know she's married. She's talked about her husband. So what do I do? Do I just have to leave her alone? Do I have to say, forget it, it's impossible now, or do I?
No, you have to say, when you get divorced, call me.
Okay.
That's what you have to say, and don't expect anything else, because you'll be very unhappy.
Yeah.
So it's adios, muchachos, until you get the divorce papers.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Thank you.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Great.
Paula, I wanted to say something about Louise's, we were talking before about creating like qualities, asking them for qualities that they like in a mate. I made a list years ago, and it's really easy to make a list. And sometimes the way I compile a list is from all the data I collected from prior relationships. Like you're in a relationship, I can think of every relationship I was in and say, oh, I really love that quality. But I'm not so crazy about that. So I want to try to find both of those in the next relationship. And then pretty soon you have your list,
Yeah.
Well, you know what they say. They say to make a list, put it in the drawer,
Right?
leave it for 2 days, and then go back and look at it.
Yes.
You
right.
know. And I make a mental list. I have no time writing it down, but I make a mental list. And it works. It does work. It does work. Okay. Is there anything else you want to say about you?
Well, maybe later. I'd
Okay.
love to hear about Tree.
Let's talk about Teresa. Teresa, I want everybody to know, you ask Teresa her name, and she'll say Tree. And then she'll say, no, it's Teresa. So we're not sure what we're going to call her, Tree or Teresa. So talk.
Anything but Terry. Anything
but Terry.
Yes. Teresa is my given name. I grew up back east in a very large Italian family.
Oh, Excuse me, Eric in LA is on the phone. Hello, Eric. Oh, it's another one.
I hear someone though.
What's going on with Eric? Okay. Eric will call back. What's going on back there? Yeah, I know. Okay. Can someone check with what's going on with the audio and the telephone? Thanks. Go ahead.
Okay. So grew up in a big Italian social family, and social was it was very comfortable for me, my whole social life.
Can we talk? We're going to, Eric? Okay, that's it. I can't interrupt my guests that way. This is ridiculous. No, that's ridiculous. No. Okay, go ahead, honey.
Okay. So after college, I taught junior high school for a while, and even when I wasn't teaching Spanish, I was counseling the kids after school one-on-one, and it was inevitably, even at that age, especially at that age, about the opposite sex, And never became a psychologist or went back to school to be a therapist, but I'm still thinking about it. And so I got involved with a personal growth organization, HI. It's an acronym for the Human Awareness Institute. And they have workshops on love, intimacy, and sexuality. Really changed my life. Got me, attracted healthier men in my life for me. And so they would have monthly support groups in Silicon Valley. And I would go to the support groups, and a lot of engineers were there, and some of the men consistently, when it was time to share how they were feeling, would talk all about work. And it was an area that I just didn't feel connected to, because my comfort zone and my energy was going into my social life, and theirs was going into work. And inevitably, they'd ask me to get together, even as friends, and I said, I don't have room in my social calendar. And they'd say to me, what? I mean, they couldn't conceive of the concept because their social calendar was so wide open. So anyway, after I left teaching, I wanted to lead a workshop, but I couldn't figure out what it was I could teach the world. And one day I got together with a friend, and we started talking, Michelle Fabrega, and she had a similar vision. And so we led a workshop in Silicon Valley a couple years ago. It was a 4-week class for men on social skills and dating. We called it Debugging Your Dating Life. And it was very successful, so much so that we repeated another 4-week class. And the exercise that was most powerful was the role-playing exercise, where each of the men had an opportunity on several occasions to sit on the couch with either Michelle or I and role-play a situation in their life with a woman. Whether it be, I'm friends with this woman and I want to have that conversation about, it's scary, but I want to have that conversation about, let's take it the next step. Or, I'm at work on my lunch hour and there's this woman reading a book, how do I go up and talk to her? Just like the caller, shall I go up to her? And we interrupted them anytime we saw, Michelle's cues, her body language, or my body language, and they learn how to read body language. Right. Like, you're talking too much about yourself right now. We're really honest, and they really appreciated that. And Michelle and I are only 2 women in the world. We did let them know what we felt women want, but the good news is we're very different women, so we brought a lot of that to it. And at the end of the class, we had something we called a finale. And we invited the men and women who were going to be there at my house in a safe kind of environment versus a bar. And they could practice their skills. And so it was really successful. And one of the women...
Excuse me,
yes.
Did you have men and women come at the same time?
At the last class.
At the final?
The final.
At the final, there were men and women?
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
And we talked about things like, how are you going to dress? And because, appearance is important. And so one of the women there, Sophia Langdon, brought this game, the Truth in Dating game. And we played it, and I was very impressed because the questions, the cards are very... they really help you get to know a person. They're really good, deep questions. In fact, 2 people there ended up dating based on how they answered these questions. The game is created by Susan Campbell, who's a psychologist and corporate trainer as well, and she's written like 9 books on the topic of communication and social skills. And so then I decided to use the game, and I led what I called a heart-centered speed dating workshop. And it was in Silicon Valley, and I'd never been honestly, I've never been to a speed dating workshop. I think I've seen it on TV. I know a little bit about maybe what it's about, but my impression about what I did with this game compared to what they're doing around the table is that there might be more superficial, like, you know, where you're from, what do you do for work, whereas these questions go for the jugular. You know, they're really good questions, and if we have time later, I'd like to share a few.
Yeah.
So it was after that, Louise mentioned, I started leading monthly gatherings in Santa Cruz. I call them radical intimacy gatherings, and we play the game. And radical intimacy is based on a concept that people really desire authentic connections. How you get there is a little risky sometimes, but it's a safe place we create a safe place in these workshops where people could share things like, say they're, you know, I call it locker room talk sometimes, you know, this thing you have in your body that you think you're the only one who has it, and then you share and you say, oh my God, you know, I don't feel alone anymore. Well, it's the same thing about life's experiences. There's the workshops I did with HI, the Human Awareness Institute, they have a saying, I know you, you're just like me. And so what happens at the end of these workshops, there's singles and couples, people who are strangers from Meetup, Dance Church, HI, my personal friends. At the beginning of the 2 hours, they don't know each other, and at the end, they are so connected and they don't feel, they get in touch with awarenesses. Like the singles might have more of an idea, like before they go to someone like you, of what I really want in a relationship. I kind of got some awarenesses and what I'm really looking for from this game. And my boyfriend and I, he comes every time, Chris, and I think it's good to have couples that are healthy there too, because they inevitably come up to us and say, I want what you have. And I know it's possible now, you know, so it's really exciting. And lastly, what I've been doing the past 3-4 months, I wouldn't say I'm a matchmaker. I don't know if you know this, Paula, but I found out matchmakers like earn as much as attorneys do, at least for the initial retainer of $5,000. They do. I know. I heard someone who went to a matchmaker, 5 dates, $5,000, and that was it.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is I'm working with a few clients. They're different ages. The man is in his 20s, just starting dating, and there's another man in his 40s and a woman in her 60s, but they all want the same thing. They want to find a partner. Love, the partner, however, you know, soulmate, whatever they use. And what's really cool is I'm working with this one woman who's very busy in her life. I don't know if any of you have done some online dating, you said? It's pretty exhausting, you know. It's hard to work and do this, you know. And especially I'm imagining as a woman, I'd say, you know, so this woman hired me. I have a spreadsheet with I know what she wants, you know, I know what she wants, I know what her deal breakers are. And so I screen the men. I meet with them at you know, a coffee place, I talk on the phone, I Skype with them. And so, you know, I check my intuition, like I know Louise has a really strong intuition. And so I really have a gut feeling, you know, this guy's not for you, you know. And she trusts that, my client. And so she just has to show up for the date, you know. And she gets to spend more time on, you know, looking pretty. So, so that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
And the one thing I wanted to mention, and I'd like to know your perspective on this, is one thing I noticed is people desire connection, and so much so that when I had my first workshop, I had a limit of 16 people in my home, and so that's all I could fit. And so the workshop was full. I had a guy call, and I told him it was full, and he said, I'll stand, you know. I just really want to come. I'll stand. I don't have to sit. And so
How did he know about it?
It was from he was in my community, Human Awareness Institute, HI, and so he was on my mailing list.
Okay.
There were some new people from Meetup, you know, as well. But what I noticed, I try to gender balance them to try to get the same amount of women and men, and inevitably I have more men than women.
Really?
Yes. And so what I'm finding, and this is what I'm thinking, I'm not saying that all women are the social people in the relationship, but I am. I know my partner probably wouldn't do as much socially if I didn't drag him along, and a lot of times he does want to go, but often he goes because I want to. So when women are single, I think that we still, you know, we're busy. You're busy with your friends, right? You're still keeping busy out in the world. And I'm saying not all men, I can't generalize, but a lot of men will be in their cave or stay home or be at the computer, so that they're jumping at the chance to meet people. And so, yes, in Santa Cruz, I'm going to be doing one in Sunnyvale next month, because I have people come from the East Bay. I've had people come from Albany, you know, all the way from San Francisco. That's how much they're craving connection. And
how do they find out about you?
well, on my website, I think they're putting it up on
Yeah.
www.lifecoachingbytree, and it's in the infancy stages. They're still under construction, the website, but both of my 2 upcoming workshops are there. So there's one on February 9th here in Sunnyvale, and there's one on March 2nd right near downtown Santa Cruz.
Where do you hold it downtown Santa Cruz?
Well, since
Let everybody know where you're holding it.
it's a private home, so I'd rather
it's
them
a
contact
private
me,
home.
and then I will
Oh,
let them
okay.
know. But generally, I used to hold them in my home till I moved into a smaller space. I'm living with Elise right now in a mobile home. It's quite small.
Yeah.
But what I do is, people who want to host it, they don't have to pay for the workshop. It's just $20 for the evening, but someone who's offering their home, you know, her and her husband, this woman, don't have to pay for the workshop.
Right.
So that, because of the hosts.
Yeah.
So.
And how many people do you have at this?
Generally,
about
13 to 18. 13 to 18 people.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
13 is an odd number.
Well,
okay.
I'll say 14.
Okay, good.
Yeah. You know, sometimes, you know, people commit and even pay and don't show up.
And
so,
don't show up,
yeah.
right.
I
right.
noticed that on Meetup.
Yeah.
And so I don't really know what's going on. Maybe my self-talk is it's probably fear, you know, that comes up. And, yeah. It does help, like you said, meeting people through friends, and it does help if someone's nervous about going to something, to pick them up the way we picked you up today. Not that
Right.
you wouldn't come today.
Yeah.
But
I think I would have to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I think yes.
Tree, what did you do with the guy who wanted to come in?
I welcomed him.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Okay.
I said, you know, I decided to surrender and say, okay, we'll make it work. I don't know if you know what a backjack is. It's a chair that's on the floor.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
you know, people could double up, you know,
Sure.
and sit in front of each other. And inevitably, someone canceled, and,
Sure.
you know, the universe,
Space
it all
was
worked
made.
out.
It all worked out,
But,
always.
yeah, I have one man who can't pay the 20, and so he pays 10, and I have a 20-year-old assistant who's amazing, and she sits in a room of people. I'd say the oldest participant's probably 70, and the youngest is probably 20, and she learns so much from us, and I see she's such a mirror for me. You know, we all feel for her because we've been through that as women, what she's going through, and so she's got all these wise people around her, and knowing, you know, she'll get through it, right? Yeah.
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 Well, that's great.
Yeah.
That's
Well, I
good.
want to say I've been to 2 of Tree's workshops, and you start out with a hand-on-heart exercise, which immediately puts you at ease because you are looking into each other's eyes, and the eyes are the window to the soul.
Yeah.
And she orchestrates it so that you go around and you do that.
This is from
with
High.
each
This is
person, yeah, a high experience.
Now, what's with this high? What's high?
Oh, Human Awareness Institute, and
Say that a little slower.
Human Awareness Institute.
That doesn't sound high.
They have the acronym HAI. They have workshops on love, intimacy, and sexuality. Human Awareness Institute.
Okay.
All over the world. And so, and I started in Boston, and they're based in Harbin Hot Springs here. But they have monthly, once you've done the workshop, they have monthly support groups. They have community nights where people can reconnect, and inevitably a lot of parties.
Okay.
With a lot of open people, yeah.
Have you heard of it?
No.
Join it. Look at all the friends you'll meet. Come on, will you, Keith?
And you know, you might have someone on your show.
I may join it too.
Yeah, exactly.
What the hell?
Yeah,
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah. I'm not going to let you girls get ahead of me. Oh no, I'm going to pass you by in a few months.
That's for sure.
It's changed my life. It's changed my life.
It's wonderful. You go to workshops up at Harbin Hot Springs. So you do level 1, level 2, up to level 8 nowadays. And I first found it in 1984.
Wow.
And I've done a whole 6 over all these many years.
Yeah.
Wow.
But there's support groups here, there's support groups everywhere. And the people are, they're at home in their bodies. And if you're not, you learn to be. That's really the whole point.
Lots of
Yeah, that
hugs.
is the whole point.
To be real,
Yeah.
to be who you really are,
Yeah.
and to reduce and relax the boundaries between each other.
You just upset me. I thought I knew who I was all these years. And I'm finding out I don't. I don't know who I am, but I love me. That's the important thing.
point.
That's the point.
That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I love me. Yeah.
Very important.
And
Yeah.
other people love you.
Thank
Everybody
thank
loves
you.
you.
Thank you. Yeah. So okay. So what happens at these retreats? What do they do?
Oh.
What they do, they gender balance generally the workshops, and so they do different exercises. Some are with a partner, like you and I might partner up, and some are with groups. And I can't talk about the specific exercises, but they're
Right.
basically exercises that help you love yourself. You know, there's and also connect with the opposite sex. Like they will ask you to choose a partner of the opposite sex. You can heal things from your childhood. For me, as a woman, it really helped me. Can I say, come out of the closet? You know, around my sexuality. Not that I'm a bisexual, but just be more comfortable with my body. And also, one of the phrases they use is to ask 100% of what you want in the world. Be willing to hear no, and negotiate a win-win.
Right.
So they really empowered me to really ask for what I want and communicate. And I've attracted this amazing relationship as a result of it. I couldn't have done it without High.
Is that right?
Yes.
Oh,
What?
Somebody.
did you say something? Hello? No.
No, it's not you.
Never mind. Okay, John. All right.
In fact, can I share something about how I met my partner?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was engaged at 40, had the gown and everything, and called off the wedding. It was the right thing to do.
Okay.
And so anyway, I found myself single at 40, and went to a friend's wedding, and she, it was the second wedding for both of them. When they walked down the aisle, they walked toward each other, and she recited this phrase. It was a affirmation, so to speak, invocation, something she said every day to attract this man. And I was so blown away by it. I thought, oh, I'm gonna go home and do that, you know? So I had already had my list of what I was looking for, but I wrote an affirmation and I said, the perfect man is moving toward me and will be arriving any day now. His heart is open, he loves me, and we love each other, and I'm happy and deserving of this love. And I'd blow out a candle and do this ritual thing, and then I would I didn't know what he'd look like, but I visualized like how I'd feel. And I said to myself, it's going to be like my birthday and Christmas when this man comes into my life. And sure enough, 2 months later, you know, I ran into him on the stairs, again through someone who I lived with. They were friends. But I believe that I attracted him, and he is everything on my list 10 years later. So I feel like this really
You
helped.
struck out.
Yeah.
Good.
Struck out. That's a positive thing?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
That's positive.
Not when you're playing baseball.
Now when
I didn't understand that.
That's great. That's it. Okay, let's do the cards.
Okay, so I'll just read a couple of the questions. Well, there's 3 decks. There's the Getting Acquainted deck, the Deep Dating deck, and the deck that's all about sex. So the sex deck is pretty self-explanatory, but what I did, and the Getting Acquainted deck, what I did with this is use mostly these in the workshop. And so these questions are mostly for people who aren't in a relationship. The Deep Dating are a lot like more introspective and a lot of questions about relationships. So here's the first question. What could someone do on the first date or meeting to make you not want to see that person again?
Oh, that.
And that's different for everyone, you know.
Of course,
Yeah,
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another question, name 2 or 3 characteristics that you could not accept in a mate or potential mate. Well, that's similar to the other one. But actually, at my speed dating workshop, before we did the speed dating portion, I had them close their eyes and visualize, you know, how they would feel with this person that they were looking for. You know, imagine them, whether they're playing, you know, tennis or whatever activities they'd be sharing with them. And then we went around and we did an exercise similar to this question, where I would go up to you, for example, and I'd say, the one thing, you know, 2 things I'm looking for in a relationship are, you know, blank, like integrity and blank. And what my deal breaker is, you know, someone who smokes, you know. And so they go up to several people, and you could really learn things. If you could do your last relationship over, what would you do differently? So that's a big one.
That is a big one.
And you learn a little bit about why it
One of
ended.
many things.
My greatest wish regarding a relationship is, you know, to be loved, to be accepted. What are your strengths as a partner?
How do you know? How do you know what your strengths are with a partner? How can you look at a card and know what the strengths are?
How can I look at a card? Well, the game is not always about answering the question. Like, you could look at a card and you could just have a feeling, or you could have a memory, and you can share that too. But when I look at a card like that about what my strengths are as a partner, I start to think of things that other partners maybe have appreciated about me, or things that I love about myself that I think, you know, might be a good potential mate. you know,
how about when you have friends in your life, and what attracts those friends to you, I think would be it as well. And friends are really open and honest with you.
Right.
So it is a third party, or a second party in some instances, telling you why they like you.
Right.
So that could be an affirmation of
write it down. That'd be a great thing to do before you go on a date, have those things written down so you build yourself up, all the wonderful things that these people like about me, and sometimes we feel a little insecure before we do things like a first date, So let me see what the next one says. What helps you feel safe with a lover or potential partner?
That's a good question.
It is a good question.
That's a very, very good question.
Yeah.
I would have to think long and hard on that one. Really. Yeah. Because you really don't know. You're talking to a stranger, and how are you feeling? Do you feel safe with this person?
Well, for me, I emotionally, I would know right away someone who listens to me and doesn't interrupt, So that would be important. That would make me feel safe. Or someone I could, who was honest with me, that I could trust, that hasn't given me any reason not to trust it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, for me, it would be, do they look in my eyes? Will they hold a gaze for just a little bit?
Okay.
Does it feel okay to touch? I mean, you don't have to touch a lot.
Yeah.
But, is there body language that is relaxed so you just feel welcome?
Yeah.
And I'll be welcoming if I'm feeling like it's reciprocal. Then there'll be a relaxed energy between us.
Or another thing is I could trust their yes if I've heard their no. You know what I mean? Like, one of the things I love about my partner, and one of the most challenging things, is that he's honest with me. So sometimes it doesn't feel good when someone's honest with you, but I always know, like, I know when he says yes that he wants to do something, and I know when he says no that he needs his space. And I may not like it sometimes, but I know he's doing something because he wants to do it right, and he's being honest. He takes care of himself. Yeah. We need to learn more about that as women.
We can do a great session right here.
We could. We could.
Are you having fun yet?
Oh, I'm having so much fun.
That's good.
This whole thing is about fun.
It's
or I'm
go.
not going to do it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's definitely about fun. Let's hear some more questions.
Okay. Let me see. I wonder if I should go into the deeper dating.
Yeah, go into the adult stuff.
You want to go to the jugular? Should
Yeah,
I do the
go to
sex?
the jugular. The sex we can leave away for a while.
Yes. Oh, this is an awesome question, okay? What have previous partners tried to get you to change about yourself? How did that work? So this is something that's really important, when you get
It's very important.
Yeah.
It's very important, because if you don't want to change, there's no relationship.
Well,
right. Well,
I was going to say, usually you're attracted to someone, and in some relationships, the first thing you start doing is trying to change them.
Yeah.
And
A lot of
after a period of time, obviously, but sometimes that's a little confusing. That's really confusing.
Agree.
It's very confusing.
Agree. Don't think that you're going to change someone. There are some things that may not be perfect in the relationship when you meet someone, but and certainly if there are things that are really bothering you from the moment you meet them, they're going to be bothering you 5, 10, 20 years
That's
from
right.
then. But to try to think you're going to change someone, I mean, this question for me would be like to find out, say someone was trying to change the fact that they're late all the time, and I'm thinking, I don't know if I want to be with someone. That's out of integrity. I'm sorry. I don't know if I want to be with someone who's late all the time. So it'd be really good. You can learn a lot from this question.
You can.
Yeah.
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 You can.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
This is a good one too. What story do you imagine a former lover tells about why your relationship with him or her ended? And,
wow.
Yeah.
That's loaded.
It is loaded. And if people can answer it honestly, one thing I loved about my boyfriend when I met him, he never said anything negative about his ex-wife. He really honestly spoke about what his part in it. I'm not saying that she's perfect. She's not. But he said what her part in it, what his part in it is that I would have a red flag on a first date if the person talked about their last relationship and they made it all about the other person, because
That's a red flag.
it is.
Yeah, that's a red flag.
Takes two to tango.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, this is hard. What is something you've never gotten in a relationship that you fear you'll never get?
If you haven't gotten it, you're not
Probably
getting
never
it.
gonna get it at this point.
You're not getting it. No.
One thing about this game, if you don't like the question, you can put it down and take
Right.
another one.
There you go.
No, I do play that at my workshops. It's about choice. So someone can pick a card and say, you know what?
I don't like
I don't
this.
like it. So that way, they after a while, they figure, I could try the sex question. If it's too much, I don't answer it. But I tell you, I don't know if you experienced this. Everybody gets the perfect question, and usually they'll read it and they'll go, oh no, and it was just like the perfect.
This is me.
Yeah, this is the perfect
this
question
was
for
written
me.
for me.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And so I don't let them go through the whole deck.
Yeah.
But after the second question, usually they'll pass or something. But people end up feeling safe and they answer. They answer
have a
really
wonderful time.
authentically. It's like amazing. And then the best part of the game is, say Louise answered something that was pretty personal. And I get to support her if she wants feedback and say, when I heard you share that about your last relationship, I felt really compassion for you, or I felt really connected, or my self-talk was, God, I wish I had a relationship like that, So we get to connect through the certain guidelines. What is something you don't want most people to know about you? And how do you feel sharing this? It's one of those interview questions, I'd always say things like, when they say something about you, what did they ask? Not negative things, some of your bad traits or bad qualities.
Yeah.
I always say things like, well, I work too much, or really dedicated to,
If you're going to ask me that stock question, I'm going to give you a stock answer.
Exactly. Yeah. I like this question. In what ways do you feel superior to other people? In what ways do you feel inferior?
Well, that's...
I'm not crazy about that.
No, nothing. I'm not crazy about that at all. No.
And then some of these have something called a button pusher. So that's like, woo! My boyfriend, I don't know if you ever got this. When have you wished that your partner would shut up? During sex?
We have 5 more minutes? That's all?
Goes fast.
See how fast it went?
Wow.
I told you before you know it, it's
right.
going to be an hour.
Yeah.
Did I tell you that? It goes very fast. What?
Hello, Paula.
There's a caller.
Oh,
Eric?
Eric's back.
Eric?
Hello, Paula.
Hello?
Paula.
Hello, Eric. What's your question?
I am in a relationship with a woman I absolutely love, and it's a long distance relationship. And I will wait 20 years, 30 years, however long it takes to be together. I'll wait. But I was wondering if you and your guests could talk a little bit about long distance relationship and techniques for having a successful one until you get to that time when you can be together. And I'll take the answer off the air. All right.
Okay. So what do you think about this here question he's asking?
I've been in a long-distance relationship. Have you?
No.
Oh.
No.
When I moved out here when my boyfriend moved out here to California, I stayed in New England, in Boston.
Oh.
And it was really hard. I'm not sure of the distance between him.
Los Angeles.
Oh, Los Angeles and here.
Yeah, Los Angeles and here. Are
So-
you there, Eric?
No, he's gone.
So
Where'd he go?
he said I'll leave. I think he said I'll leave when he. At one
He
point.
said he'd take an answer off the air, is what he said.
Off the air. Okay. So yeah, that was really hard, and I ended up not staying in the relationship. It was just, I remember being in the airport one time and just like crying. It's like, this was too hard. But what I would do is, you have Skype now. Skype is wonderful. Keep in touch there. I think what my boyfriend and I did, even though we weren't long distance, in the beginning of the relationship, is wrote these sweet emails, romantic poems to each other, anything to keep the relationship alive. And there's always phone sex.
Yeah. Okay.
My daughter's in a long-term relationship right now.
Long distance.
Long distance relationship
Long
right
distance.
now. It's San Francisco to New York.
Oh my God.
And So it's been interesting watching her deal with that. You know, it's somewhat established. You know, my experience is I want somebody locally. I don't want to be traveling to Pleasanton. You know, I like spontaneity. It's like, hey, I'm out early. Let's go get something to eat. Kind of approach to things. But she's been able to pull this off. She's got a lot of miles at this point, and she's booking her flights really well.
Aside from the miles and all that, how is she reacting to him with all this?
She kind of likes it. I mean, he's very busy. He works for a major film production company in New York.
Wow.
She's going to school in San Francisco, and they manage to pull it off really well. I mean, they see each other quite frequently.
Oh,
Like
really?
every month, or
Huh?
like once a month? Or?
6-8 weeks, but then it's a week or so together. He's able to come out here and work, do some distance work. I mean, he can lock himself into a room and do the work just as well in San Francisco as he can in New York.
Oh, okay.
For her, it's a little different.
Yeah.
But it's work. It's obviously not the optimum, but they're both busy, and it seems to work for them right now. So
The challenge with that is to think that, I mean, you don't lose yourself. That's a positive thing. You can do your own thing, but to really, go from that to live together to get married, you have so much space. So it's quite different when you actually, are living in the same town and living in the same house.
well, she went back and spent 3 weeks this summer.
Oh, good. That's
she
good.
worked. She
That's
did
good.
an internship in
Otherwise, you're on
Manhattan.
honeymoon all the time.
Yeah, right.
So they had that bulk of time together.
That's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they needed.
Yeah.
That's what they needed.
Got 1 minute left.
One more minute. Okay. I think we had a good time.
Yes. Yes.
Keith, what do you think of the dating situation now? Come on, guy, give
Same
an
as I
answer.
did an hour ago.
Oh, I was
No, it's still dating. It's still, you're still meeting people. You're still meeting, having those, running into people and friends introducing you, or, nice glances at a safe way.
Right.
It's
still the same.
yeah. I mean,
Do you feel you got anything out of this?
yeah. I didn't know about the game. I knew about relationship coaches, though.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
And I think that there's a need for that because I think it's important that if you want something that's going to last, it's like anything else. You got to have a
investment.
good foundation.
Yeah.
You got to know what you're doing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. Is it ended? I didn't thank everybody. I don't see anything rolling on the screen. What's happening here, John?
I'm working on it.
It's not over. It's still 7:28.
Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Okay, there's the roll. Okay. Wait a minute. I want to thank everyone whose name is up on that screen for performing tonight. Without the volunteers at the studio, no show would go on.
Yes.
So I want everyone to know that it's all done by these wonderful volunteers. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.